Playtime's over, mate. You're going to the war zone. Battle Royale. Avoid the gas. Get to the safe zone.
LZ is set. Let's stay together.
UAV overhead. Enemy UAV overhead.
I'll drive. Heading this way.
Enemy UAV overhead.
I'll take the wheel. I'll take the wheel.
Loadout drop inbound. Gas is closing. Get to the new safe zone.
Moving.
Welcome to the Gulag. If you survive, you earn your freedom. Fight's begun. Get yourself sorted. You're up next. Listen up, soldier. Win here and you return to the front line. But if you lose, you're done. You're up, soldier. Now go sort this fucker out. Got roughed up in there. We're bringing you home.
Let's roll. Throwing fire. Remember, this isn't the killer.
Hello guys, can you hear me?
This is real life.
Yes. Okay. Only one A. Easy.
Deploying decoy. Decoys
คอน
out.
เทนต์วิวสวิตคาเม
Roger. Bomb has been planted.
Two side.
ทีวัน บล็อกแอดเอเมน
Diffusing. Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win. Move it!
Middle 2, 3.
Flashbang. Throwing smoke. Throwing.
Flash mid please.
Grenade out.
โดนแฮปคอนเน็ก
Yeah, talk
Three
you bro.
connect.
Oh god.
and why you don't go V shot yes
One apps. You true green, you true dude. I just say 3 in for 3 mid. There could be connector and be short.
Hey, calm down.
Yeah. Don't blame, dude. Yeah. Don't blame, bro. Yeah. I support you this time, Grip. I say infantry mate.
Lost!
Yeah.
Hey, shut up here.
No. It's not about shut up, dude.
He said, hey, Flash, begin shut up. Ah, 2 mate.
Too late! Run! Let's go! Incendiary out! Molotov! Throwing a grenade! Throwing smoke! Deploying flashbang! Counter-terrorists win! Go! Deploying flashbang. Fire. Incendiary out. Laying down smoke. Throwing flashbang. Deploying flashbang. Move out. Incendiary. Grenade out. Canapé. Laying down smoke. Go, go! Throwing flashbang. Smoke. Laying down smoke. Roger that. Let's go. Throwing fire! Flashbang. Throwing fire. Grenade. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. There you go. Roger that. Flashbang. son. Hold this position. Affirmative. Deploying flashbang. Throwing flashbang. Flashbang. Throwing flashbang. Throwing a grenade. Grenade out. Incendiary out. Roger that. Laying down smoke. Fire in the hole. Smoke. We're in the clear line. Terrorists win. Let's go, let's go! Cover this area. Roger. Grenade. Decoy. Smoke. Flashbang. Grenade out. Deploying flashbang. Throwing a grenade. Smoke. Cover this area. Hold your positions. Flashbang. Bomb has been planted. Throwing flashbang. Defusing. Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorist win. this. Hold your positions. Hold this position. Deploying fire. Deploying flashbang. Laying down smoke. Grenade out. Grenade out. Roger that. Throwing a grenade. Grenade. Incendiary. Counter-terrorists win. Cover this area. Incendiary. Throwing flashbang. Stay here. Throwing smoke. That's a negative. Fire in the hole. Deploying flashbang. Flashbang. Incendiary. Deploying flashbang. Throwing a grenade. Throwing smoke. Terrorists win. Let's have at it, mates. Hold this position. Affirmative. Incendiary out. Granate! Grenade out. I'm defusing the bomb. Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win. Agreed. Who here is not ready? friend. I'm throwing smoke. Grenade. Throwing a flashback. I'm throwing a flashback. Grenade. I am planting the bomb. Smoke has been planted. Smoke.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
Let's go, let's go! Hold here. Affirmative. Guard this area. Yes. I'm throwing smoke. Only 2 men left. Smoke! Throwing fire.
Terrorists win.
Activating the bump. Let's go! Hold here. Affirmative. Cover the area. Throwing a flashbang. Throwing a flashback. I'm throwing smoke. Guard this area. Affirmative. Fire. Cover this area. Yes. I'm throwing smoke. Throwing fire. Planting.
Terrorists win.
Let's go. Let's go. Hold here. Affirmative. Yes. You need. Hold here. I'm throwing a grenade. Agreed. Smoke. Flashbang. Molotov. 3 left. Flashback. 2 men left.
Terrorists win.
Planting. We will drag them from our land area. Cover this area. Affirmative. I'm throwing a flashbang. Grenade smoke. I'm throwing smoke. Yes. Negative. Cover this area. That is the plan. Guard this area. Molotov! Smoke!
Bomb has been planted.
Throwing fire!
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
Let us go. Guard this area. Affirmative. I'm throwing a flashbang. Thank you, my friend. I'm throwing a flashbang. I'm throwing smoke. Grenade. Smoke. I'm throwing a flashbang. Throwing fire. Throwing fire. That makes three left. We are down to two. Affirmative.
Terrorists win.
I'm throwing a grenade. We must move. Guard this area. Agreed. Throwing a flashbang. Hold here. I'm throwing flashbang. Cover this area. Throwing fire. Throwing a flashbang. Smoke.
Terrorists win.
At our start point. Follow me, my friend. Yes. They shall regret this day. Let us go this way. With much thanks. Guard this area. I will lead the way. Hold here. Flashbang. I'm throwing flashbang. Smoke. I'm throwing smoke. I'm throwing a flashbang. Planting.
Bomb has been planted. Terrorists win.
area. Yes. Flashbang. Yes. Smoke. Throwing a flashbang. Molotov. I'm throwing a grenade. 3 mercenaries left. Throwing fire. I am planting the bomb. I'm throwing smoke.
Bomb has been planted.
Throwing a flashbang. What do you see? Hold here. Yes. Flashbang. Cover this area. No. Guard this area. No, my friend. Smoke. Smoke. Planting.
Bomb has been planted.
Molotov. I'm throwing a flashbang.
Terrorists win.
Flash me, I mean.
That is the plan. Go, go, go! Cover this area. Affirmative. Throwing a flashbang.
Default. Default. Nice. Yeah.
Connect jungle, connect jungle.
Flash it.
There.
What?
Terrorists win.
Adopt one AK blue.
Sugar.
Green, what happened, Green?
Let's go. Let's go. Hold this area. I'm throwing a flashbang. Guard this area. Negative. I'm throwing smoke.
One palace push.
Grenade.
This guy, be clear, man. Check, be sure.
Chill, chill.
Jungle.
Yeah, yeah, market.
Oh.
Oh fuck! Inform, be sure.
I am planting the bomb.
To market coming.
Bomb has been planted.
You're right. you're right, man.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
Smoke A, smoke A.
We will defeat the mercenaries. Guard this area. Hold here. No,
Wait.
no.
Fucking bot.
Whopper.
Under palace one.
Can we rotate?
I'm throwing smoke.
Yeah, rotate.
Oh, fuck. Never mind. Okay.
Nah, be clear.
Counter-terrorists
Ticket.
win.
No, never mind.
Nice try.
See you guys.
It's Richard in here again, and today we're going to be taking a look at a rebuildable dripping atomizer. On posts, not your usual, RDA with 3 posts, your 2 negatives and your positive in the middle. There's no post for you to screw down your wire. So where do we screw down your wire? That is what we're here to find out today. We're going to be taking a look at the Evil Monk by Ivogo. The amulet whiteboard on the top here, and you have your deck right here with the air hole. And you have your deck right here with the air holes. And once it's in there, so forth. Yeah, board back inside here with the air. Taking a look.
Has 2 coil master, meal coil setup, 14 wraps around the 3mm coil master, and it should come out at roughly 1.1 to 1 full shot. Get on with my feet, this up roughly this, and snip that wire second coil, and we're going to go back. I've got rheumatoid arthritis, right? Coils are hell nice. 2 coils into this. I'm going to put the first coil there, right there. I'm going to put the second coil diagonally opposite, so there. So there's the positive. This whole strip is the positive, right? I'm going to put 1 coil there and 1 coil there. So it's a dual coil setup. So what I want to do first is go in to the Allen screw port and make sure that those screws are all the way out, so that the wire can fit in very easily. Do it on that side, do the same on this side, and the other one there. Now what I do is this. I get one of my coils, finger and thumb, right, and my nails, finger and thumb, and then I just simply place those legs into those holes, and the coil literally falls into place. And I haven't screwed one of those out, have I? No, I haven't. You're an idiot, Vic. There. The coil literally starts to fall into place by itself. Just like that. And you'll see the coil sitting there. The next thing you want to do, this is the pattern I've been doing it in. I've been tightening down the positive side first, so I keep my finger over the coil to let it sit in place, then I go in on this side and I slowly tighten up this Allen head. Now you'll feel the coil start to move. Let it move, don't try and restrict it, like that. That's one side done. Then I get my finger, hold this down again, go into the negative side and slowly tighten it in. You will feel the coil move around. Don't worry though, we can fix that once the coils are in place. There's one done. Now we get the second coil and we do the exact same thing. Finger and thumb. So you've got two little legs sticking out like this, and then you let the coil find its own resting place by just popping it into the holes. Just like that. It will start to find its own resting place. Then again, you put your finger or your thumb over the coil, tighten down the positive side first. Oops, damn it. Again, you'll feel the coil move around a bit. Don't worry, it's supposed to do that. And then again, you get the coil and you hold it in, and then you stop. That's the wrong one. It's that one there, Vic. Then you get the negative side, and you do the same with this, and you tighten that up. Now, don't over tighten the Allen screws. When you feel a bit of tension start, and then when you feel the coil start to move, stop, because if you over tighten those Allen screws, it will snap the wire that's going into that hole, because these Allen screws are actually quite sharp at one end. We've just mounted our two coils. The next thing we need to do is this. Get whatever you wound the coils with, right? You want to put that in there, and you want to start to twist that coil round so it sits at a diagonal. So you want it to end up like that. There we go. Do the same with the other. No, you do it from this side, I think. Do the same with the other side. Start to twist it round so it sits at a diagonal facing each other. And you also want to make sure that those coils are sitting right above the airflow hole that's directly underneath it. If I bring that up, you might be able to see it when it focuses in. Hold on, focus in. There we go. You should be able to see it. There is a hole right there directly under that coil, and that's the airflow going into it. So you want those coils sitting diagonally and also sitting right on top of the airflow hole. Just like that. Go back in with your Allen screw and give it a final slight tightening to make sure the coil legs are set in place. And we're done. That took a lot more. Oh god, I've left this out of focus. There we go. That took a lot less time than it did the first time I done this. The first time I done this, it took me 2.5 hours. I've now got it down to about 10 minutes, right? The first time you do it, expect to make a lot of mistakes, because this kind of deck design is very weird. It's just weird, right? So what we're going to do now is set the coils into place by giving them a quick dry burn. Just a quick dry burn to get the coils set. Let them glow out, and as you can see, one of them is not glowing evenly. So what we do is we get our ceramic tweezers and rake the coil like that. That one's glowing evenly, this one's not, so we get our ceramic tweezers, let the coils cool down, and then do that. Glowing nice and even. So we get this, pop it back onto the ohm meter. It should be around about 1.1, 1.2 ohms. Turn it the right way around, switch you on. Yeah, 1.24. That's roughly what I was aiming for. I was kind of aiming for 1.2 and it came out at 1.2. And there we have it. You've just put two coils into a totally postless deck. Air from underneath the coil and not from the side. What I've been doing with this little fellow is actually stuffing it with cotton so the deck holds more juice before the two empty. You can see that there, that air hole there goes right out to the side, which means if there's too much juice in there, if you over drip with thinner e-liquid, you're bound to flood the thing out, right? But what I've started to do is I've started to put a lot more cotton than I usually put in drippers. It's a 3mm coil, or two 3mm coils I've got in here. When I'm cutting my Muji cotton, for any coil I generally cut it so it's slightly wider than the inside diameter of that coil. So here's strip 1, and here is strip 2, slightly wider than the inside diameter of the coil, right? Now I know a lot of people do this. I generally don't remove the steam pressed outer parts of this. I just keep them on because number one, I'm lazy, and number two, I'm lazy. So we get one of these bits of cotton, we twist the end like this, shove it in to the coil, grab it like that, and then do the tug of war. Backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards. You want to compress the cotton slightly that's inside the coil so it actually wicks a little bit better, right? You do the same with the second bit of cotton you've got here. Give it a twist, spin it round, stuff that in there, and then do tug of war, backwards and forwards, just a few times like that. Now, cutting this. Most of the time for drippers you would cut them very short, but not with this thing. You want to leave a good 1.5 centimetres of cotton. You want to leave a lot of cotton, so I've been cutting these round about here on either side. Now, considering this is a very shallow deck, this is actually a lot of cotton you're leaving behind, right? But trust me, you're going to need it for this. Like that. Then what we do with the cotton is we start to place it around the outer circumference of the deck. So you just get your tweezers and you start to place it around the outer shell, or the outer wall of that deck, all the way around, remembering not to get any cotton underneath the coil. You want to leave the underside of the coil nice and open, because that's where it's getting its air from, right? So we stuff that all the way around like that. Just do it roughly for now. And what we've ended up with is a circle of cotton. See that? There's a circle of cotton going all the way around, with a gap between the two coils for basically the airflow to go straight up, right? Last thing we need to do is juice this thing up. So what I'm going to use here, something that's not high in nicotine. Perino's After Dark, the last of it, the very last of it actually, right? So here we go. Let's juice up this little lot. See, I've got so much cotton in there that it took a whole dripper worth of the stuff. In fact, I'm going to put a little extra in there as well. Hold on. I want to saturate that cotton out. Then once it's soaking, you can go back in there and tuck the bits that are sticking out the side over. Now you've noticed, if you see that cotton is saturated and there's actually some liquid starting to pool down there. But look at the air holes. There's no leakage because I'm using a thick liquid. There's a lot of tension in thick VG juices that will stop it from falling down there. So, we've juiced this thing up, we've wicked it, we've coiled it. Let's head back up to the main camera and watch me vape on it. Yes! And we're back. Hold on, just moving the mic over so you can hear me. So here we are. This little fella. It is now soaked with e-liquid. The question is, how's it going to perform? Well, I'll tell you something, I'm actually surprised at how well this little dripper brings out flavour. We're going to pop on the wrong way round. We're going to pop on the outer shell. Now the way this airflow control works, if you line up the holes for dual coil like that, right, like that, it means that the quad coil holes are all closed. You can put 4 coils in this, right, but it means that the quad coil holes are closed, so it's set up for dual coil instead of 4. That pops on like that. We then get the top cap, screw that on, and you want to make sure before you fire it that the coils are not touching that upper deck, and they're not. You then get your Delrin drip tip, and we screw that in. Be very careful about the threads in this Delrin drip tip, by the way, because they're very fine threads. You don't want to thread it out. There we go. Tiny, tiny little thing. We're going to use the smock. Screw that in. 1.1 ohm coil, 4.8 volts. Yeah, 4.8 volts, call it 20 watts. Open it up so it's actually fully open first. Hold on, I didn't get that sitting right. I want it there. Airflow control fully open on each side for the dual coil. And we're off. Damn, that is a gorgeous flavour coming from this. So, I'm going to crank it up because I'm not sub-ohming, it's a 1.1 ohm coil, but I'm going to crank this up to 30 watts. 30 watts, 5.8 volts. Sizzle, sizzle. You don't need to sub-ohm to chuck clouds, folks. You really don't need to sub-ohm to chuck clouds. What can I say? I've had this up against the Aromamizer with the same 1.1 ohm dual coil setup and the same e-liquid. I've also had it up against, it's not really a fair competition, I've had it up against the little IGOL. Of course the IGOL's not going to win, but it was kind of comparing the flavour profiles, because for me the Aromamizer, and to a certain extent the Buhaki, that brown thing that I could never get the name right, those two drippers for me were the go-to ones when it came to full out flavour. Not so much the cloud chuck, right, but the full out in your face flavour. This wins, absolutely wins, hands down. It stomps, it literally stomps all over the Aromamizer. It just leaves it behind in the dust. And a lot of this is not to do with the way the coils are mounted. A lot of it is to do with the dripper itself. This thing is tiny. It's tiny. You can see all the way down into the coils. There is literally that much space. You're talking about a couple of centimetres, if that, between your lips and those coils. It's a tiny, tiny short travel distance for the vapour to go straight up. I don't know if it's the same height as the Derringer. The Derringer done the rounds, done a load of rounds. A load of people loved the Derringer when it was released about 3 or 4 months ago. This is probably slightly taller, but not by much. Slightly taller than the Derringer, and it's that shortness and the opened up deck with no posts to get in the way of the airflow that brings out the flavour. Really brings out the flavour. So the one question you're asking, Vic, won't it piss out juice if you drip straight down the drip tip? Well, let's give it a try. The wicks are kind of dry. There's a big gaping hole there. As you can see, I left that bit in the middle open, right? So what's going to happen is the juice is going to drip straight into that middle hole, and technically the juice is going to go under the coils and spill out the airflow. Will it? Well, let's find out, shall we? We'll pop this top back on. There we go. We'll get our After Dark. We'll load up the dripper. and we'll start dripping. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Tanked up with 11. Tip it to its side, give it a spin, make sure the cottons are all wicked up, and look at that. No sign of any leaks. Now, considering this deck, the airflow is directly under the coil and the airflow is directly connected to this, you would think this would be piss and juice all over the place, but it isn't. If you put, the way I've wicked it, right, if you put a lot of wick, a lot of cotton going round the outside edge, drip it, turn it and twist, that cotton is going to soak up everything you throw at it. Everything you throw at it. And because it's not getting the air from the side of the coil, it's getting the air from under the coil, you can afford to even stack up a bit of cotton round the edge there. You've got to wick this right, because if you don't wick it right and you leave too much deck sitting open, it will leak. I'll be honest, it will leak. And for reference purposes, I'm not using a heavy VG juice. I am using Perino. This, when it focuses in, today, sometime, hello. This isn't a heavy VG juice. I am using Perino, which is actually, when it focuses, come on, 50 VG. It's a 50-50 mix that's in here. It's actually quite watery, comparing it to a 70 VG, an 80 or a 90 VG, and even then there's no leaks, which I think is actually quite weird. There's some kind of scientific thing, it's like the surface tension of a liquid when it tries to go down a hole or something like that. Sciencey stuff gives me a sore head, that's why I don't talk about it. And there we go, folks, that was the Evil Monk Postless RDA from Evogo. Not a clone, it's Evogo's original design. Yes, it might be a little bit too fiddly if you're brand new to drippers. I would recommend you get a post design, like an IGO L, an IGO W. Get used to making coils. Once you're used to making coils, that's what, pardon me, that's when you can jump in and get your hands on this little fella. But what does it for me is just the flavour. Oh my fucking god, the flavour that this thing produces is just scary. I thought the aromamizer was good. This thing just leaves it in the dust. Leaves it in the dust. And that's across the board as well. Your custards, your creams, your desserts, like your pudding desserts, your tobaccos. I've ran loads of tobacco through that. Your fruit e-liquids. It's the flavour's just immense, because there's only that much of a distance. That's a tiny distance for that vapour leaving the coils to get into your mouth. If you look at the way the aromamizer's done, the aromamizer's got a cyclone, so it's got to start spinning the vapour first before it goes up into your mouth, and you don't lose a lot, but you lose a little bit of flavour from it. So there we go. That is it from me. Oh, prices now. This was sent direct from Evogo. I know that greyhaze.co.uk is selling it right now for this little fella for the pricely sum of £19.99. It's an Evogo, so it's bound to be cheap, right? £19.99. I done a quick bit of googling for prices over in the US, and because it's the US, yes, they're even cheaper over there. You're talking anywhere between 20 to 25 US dollars gets you one of these little fellas. Very, very interesting design. Absolutely fantastic flavour. That is it from me, folks. Have a good one. I so wanted to give these guys an actual legitimate review. What the fuck's going on? There we go. an actual legitimate review. The one of the reasons, right, and I'm going to make this short because we need to do the intro rolling, but one of the reasons why I hold back on instantly doing a review or take money, which some reviewers out there actually do, take money to actually bump the review further up or to the front of the queue, is sometimes things happen, which means that when you put a review out and that company pulls a high on, it makes you look bad. This is why I always wait. Unless it's Anakin, Kanger or Aspire, because, you know, the big companies that know what they're doing. Yeah, how the hell am I going to intro this? It's not really a review. I'm going to give you a close-up, but I'm not going to fucking vape in the thing. How am I going to intro this? Something off the top of my head here. Total copyright and trademark breach that will probably end in the company being sued review. So we're having a look. My God. Oh, it gets better. It gets better, folks. Wait for it. Fucking wait for it. Once I finish breaking this down, we're going to go back up to the main camera and have a look at an absolute train wreck that's happening over in Facebook right now. This is the Iron Maiden RDTA from Hellvape, right? It's a big, massive 30mm device. Now, just to show you, where the hell's my calipers went? I can't find my digital calipers. Oh, there they are. Just to show you, it is a 30mm device we're looking at here. Do it from the base where the glass is, we're looking at 30mm practically bang on. The way this thing works, it's your classic limitless pseudo Genesis style atomizer. The top drip tip screws off, as you can see here. Just like that. The interesting thing they've did, this is the airflow control which screws up and down, by the way, right? You can see it, it's closing off the airflow. And now it's opening the airflow up. The interesting bit about this is what they've did with the design that's under the top cap. If I pull this top cap off, which I'm having trouble pulling off actually, hold on. Pop it onto this. And then, come on. Damn, this thing is on tight. There we go. There's the deck. The deck is ceramic. It's a 2-post velocity. There's nothing really remarkable going on with the deck in this thing, folks. Coil goes there, cotton in there and in there, and the juice intakes are these two big holes. However, inside the top cap, they've got this. Now, the entire deck is actually surrounded in a ceramic shell. If I bring down the brightness here so you can get a better look at this thing. Exposure off. Bump that up so it's not flickering and then turn the gain down. There we go. This is a ceramic enclosure. The deck is ceramic and the top cap insert goes in here and plugs out the two fill holes. It goes in like that. And you end up with a fully enclosed deck. The vapor comes up through these holes at the top here, and the top cap, the metal part of the top cap, slips over the whole thing like that. This kind of acts like a spit guard, but to be honest it doesn't really work. You still get a crap load of spit back in this thing. I have actually used it a few times to see what it's like, but you do still get a crap load of spit back in this thing. But yeah, the ceramic top cap insert and the ceramic base basically encloses the entire coil and cotton assembly in ceramic, which basically means the vapor, the only metal the vapor is touching when the thing's actually atomizing, is on the two posts and on your coils. It also means that the heat generated from the inner chamber, because this is a ceramic shell, the actual metal top cap doesn't actually get all that hot. It's a rather cool RDTA, this thing. And there it goes, there it is, folks. Just strip it all down. that is the Hell Vape RDTA, and the whole thing just comes apart like that for easy assembly. Here's the issue though. Yes, I have tried it. It's comparable, but doesn't quite beat the Limitless. The Limitless, this thing, where is it? Where did I put the Limitless? It's here. Here we go. This thing. This is the Limitless Plus that's up for review this weekend. It's got the same design theory going on. The top deck with the wicks dripping down, loosely, very loosely, based off of the Genesis style atomizer. There's a few tanks out here like that. The Corolla 1.5, for instance, which is this little fella, has got the same idea. Coil at the top, wicks dripping down. This is for mouth to lung, and I've got tobacco in this as always. Here's the issue I've got. I will admit, I was going to give these guys a fair crack at the whip. I realised straight from the get-go that the imagery of the logo, which is this, is actually trademarked and protected under UK copyright and trademark law. In fact, it's worldwide because Iron Maiden's a worldwide band, and they do, even though Iron Maiden is technically no longer as active as they used to be, that trademark on Iron Maiden, including the font style, the graphic style, and the glyph style, is still protected because Iron Maiden is still protecting their brand name. I was willing to let that go though. I was going to go, right, fine, okay, we'll ignore what the whole logo thing's doing, and I'll just go straight into a review, which is what a couple of other reviewers have done recently. They've kind of ignored what the name of the dripper actually is, and they've actually reviewed it on merit of the dripper, well, the RDTA. As the RDTA stands, it's a pretty good RDTA. It follows the same design theory that the Limitless does, that the iJoy Limitless does. It follows the same design theory as all those top coilers with the wicks dripping down. It gives good flavour. It's a little bit on the big side because it's a 30mm diameter. In fact, just to show you, it's a 30mm diameter ATI, right? So if you put this even on a big mod like the Rouleau RX200, right? Here's a Rouleau. It's one of the bigger battery mods out there. And if you put your Iron Maiden on top of this thing, you don't get overhang side to side, but look at the front. That is a bad overhang. It needs a big, heavy, squared off box mod that's at least 30mm wide, so you don't get any overhang in this thing. Here's the issue I'm having. And this is the reason I decided not to do a full review. The whole thing that pissed me off about High-On back in fact it was a year ago now, coming to think of it, June, July last year, the whole High-On thing. Remember that? Where's High-On now? Nowhere. But the whole thing that pissed me off about the whole High-On thing is the way that their staff and their CEO talked to the general buying public. Let me show you something. This is Hell Vape's Facebook page, right? And I'm going to drag this in here, add screen capture. What we've got here is Hell Vape's announcement of the Iron Maiden RDTA, right? Here it is here. On the Facebook page, announced on the 7th of July at 15 minutes past 10 local time here in the UK. And at the beginning, it's all fine. It's like, wow, look at that. I want to buy one of these. This is cool. Need one. Want to get my hands on one. Yeah, this looks really cool. And then Tristan Thompson shows up. Now, if you don't know who Tristan is, Tristan is one of the people that's involved with Convicted. Is it Convicted Vapes or Convicted Vapors? I could never remember. No, wait a minute. Yeah, it's Convicted Vapes and the Legion, right? And Tristan poked his head above the parapet when I basically broke the news of the whole High On thing back in 2015. When I announced about what was going on with High On, how they were threatening reviewers with legal action, Tristan was one of the first ones to get in up to his neck and get involved in it, along with Matt Cully and all the rest of the reviewers over in the US. Tristan came up with the point of, so did Iron Maiden sign off on this? And then it starts to go downhill. How much are you paying the band to use their copyright? And it goes on and on and on. People start to immediately latch on. And then this happens. This is a post that's made by Hellvape, right? This is Hellvape's own Facebook page. And whoever posted this done so under the Hellvape name. So this is either a member of the staff of Hellvape or it's one of the leaders of Hellvape. And it starts off with this. First, I am American. Is that supposed to scare me? And I'm Scottish. Your point? You fucking idiot. Second, brush up on some law. Fonts, typeface and glyphs are not covered by anything. Evolve Ltd, or are they an LC? I think Evolve is still a private company. Yeah, Evolve LLC. I think they're still a limited liability company. Evolve LLC USA versus Joytech in China. Evolve, a United States based chip manufacturer that makes chips called the DNA 200, of which I have one in here, is actually suing Joytech because of the Rouleau RX 200. And in the legal document, Mr. fucking witless Hellvape, Evolve are actually going so far as to sue Joytech for the font that's used in the RX 200. Maybe you should brush up on law before you try and tell us to brush up on law. Under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which was written, drawn up and signed off by your own, ex-president, Mr. Bill President Clinton, back in the 90s or something, under the DMCA, fonts, glyphs, typefaces can actually be copyrighted or trademarked under the DMCA law, which is applicable worldwide. So that's that argument shot to hell. What else is he saying here? As far as the name, did Iron Maiden... See, he goes into capital letters. See, look at that. Look. Caps lock. Fucking caps lock. Look at that. I am going to get my point across and I am going to become a shouty fucking moron. But did Iron Maiden pay the Roman Catholic Church for the use of their named Reformation device? Probably not. You've got a point there. No! Alas, I don't know what the fuck alas means. Where and why the fuck do you show none of this infringement vigour with the cloned products every fucking one of you have purchased? So, whoever this fucking brainless moron who's under the fucking Hellvape name, he's now accusing everyone of buying clones. Everyone. He said every one of you. Way to talk to your customer base, you gormless twit. Moving on. I've purchased. It's so cool to let and support China clone the fuck out of Twisted Messes stuff. And here's the best part. Hellvape is actually owned by a Chinese company. So, not only Mr. American dude behind Hellvape, because it was a Chinese representative that actually contacted me via email. They've got representatives over in China that's actually making the devices. And he's going on and on and on and on and on about clones. Right? Mr. Hellvape, what post design is this? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Yes! That's right, Mr. Hellvape. You've cloned the Velocity deck. Or at least the Velocity post. And yet, you're shouting at all of us for buying clones which your own company is making. Did you have a little bit too much coffee before you went full caps lock and just went full idiot on Facebook? And he keeps going on, just fucking doing a high on, burying himself fucking deeper and deeper. Just keep reading, just keep reading. But oh fuck no, when it comes to Iron Maiden, talk about further casting a blark mark. I don't know what the fuck that means. And just to show what's going on here, Alan Simmons put this up. This is Iron Maiden's full trademark registration, which was registered. In fact, it's not this picture, I think it's the next one. There's a picture here. Oh, there it is, there. Filed with USPTO. The 5th, now I'm trying to remember now, it's the month first with the US, ain't it? So it's the 5th of the 7th, 1983. And if you look at the status, which is further down, which we can't see right now, so I'm going to have to do this. If we look at the status ad, screen capture, registered and renewed, and it was registered or re-registered and renewed in 2014. And the way that the registration for trademarks works, every 5 years Iron Maiden as the band has to actually go in and re-register and renew the name. So the name Iron Maiden's actually been taken under trademark. It doesn't end there though, because if we keep going down Hellvape makes another fucking post. Copyright law does not protect names, titles, or short phrases or expressions. It's a trademark law. Iron Maiden didn't copyright their name, they trademarked the name and the logo and the glyph and the font. Blah blah blah, clueless fucking idiot, just hammering on his fucking keyboard. Tristan Thompson, the logo's trademark, you fucking moron. Moving on, we're going to go down here. Keep going. There's another post here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Just there. Trademark details, right? And I'm going to get rid of this and bring this in. There's the Iron Maiden font, the Iron Maiden logo, and the Iron Maiden type graph, which is exactly the same as this one under full trademark protection. Now, if I had decided to do the review, which I was going to do a week and a half from now. It's actually still on the timetable for a week and a half now. You can go and check the calendar if you want on my website. If I had decided to do the review, technically speaking, if Iron Maiden, the band, decided to go after Hellvape because they're breaking trademark law, it also means that any reviewer who willingly decided to review the product could technically, under YouTube's new 2016 terms of service, have their video pulled down. Because as a reviewer, we are willingly reviewing something that we know, because it's fucking obvious, it's Iron fucking Maiden. We're reviewing something that we know is breaking trademark law. Technically, under the new terms of service that YouTube brought out in February of this year, those videos would have to be taken down, which is why I am not doing a review. I've showed you it, I have given you general opinions about it, but I'm not going to vape it, I'm not going to build on it. I have decided to make this video to show how piss poor and high-on-esque the American dude behind the Hellvape name is treating their customer base. Yeah. What can I say? any reviewer out there who actually has the Iron Maiden this thing up on your YouTube channel as a full review, if Iron Maiden the band decides to go after Hellvape, your YouTube channel will be now at risk because of the new terms of service that came into effect in 2016. February, I think it was February the 10th, roughly speaking, of 2016. So if you do have a review of the Iron Maiden up, be careful. Because I have a feeling that Iron Maiden will end up wanting to protect their name, because as a band, Iron Maiden are as tenacious on protecting their brand and their logo as Metallica is in the United States. It's also another reason why I'm not doing a review, because if Iron Maiden decide to go after Hellvape, you will not be able to buy these because Hellvape as a company will end up being bankrupted just by the legal costs alone. Anyway, that's my pseudo review of something that will probably get Hellvape sued. Oh, and by the way, Hellvape also copied the design and logo of Alienware PCs on another dripper that they released. Go and take a look at Hellvape's website. They've actually got the Alienware logo on one of their drippers. Now as a facepalm, you are more than welcome to facepalm, folks, right now, if you want. Yeah. Oh boy. Anyway, that is my look at something that's going to get Hellvape probably sued sometime this year. As always, folks, thanks for watching. The subscribe button is sitting down there. All my social media stuff is sitting right above that. And above my head, as always, is the previous review to this one. The latest recording of the latest Late Late UK Vape show that myself and Gwen Go Lightly host live, because it's a live broadcast, every Thursday and every Sunday over at VU Live. And of course, next to that at the very end is the latest What's Up Sunday vlog that usually has a giveaway at the end of it. As always, folks, thanks for watching, and yeah, have a good one. Oh, hold on. Too early for that. Not yet. Welcome to Hayun 2, Electronic Cigarette Boogaloo. Anyone who got that reference will be pissing themselves laughing now. I waited this long. I'll be honest, this is actually the 5th or 6th time that I've tried to put all this together. I think that Fernando Solis
Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we've got some really exciting news about the future of Call of Duty Ward and Warzone. Two of the lead developers on the game from Infinity Ward and Raven Software did an interview with a website called GamerGen, and they revealed some incredible things about what's coming up for the game. And from what they said, it looks like COD Warzone is going to when the new Call of Duty comes out. So rather than make a script just like we did last week with the patch notes, I thought that I would play a solo match and go